Season 16 of The Bachelorette is back this week. So popular, in fact, that it's created spin-off shows like Bachelor Pad, Bachelor in Paradise, and former Bachelor contestant moves to Nashville and becomes an Instagram influencer. One take, here we go. Just exactly how popular is The Bachelorette? Well, let me just explain it this way. It's the second most popular reality television show in America. Second only behind the United States presidential election coverage. Oh, okay, come on, John, don't start the show like this. We come to you to get away from politics. That's a pretty good joke. All right, listen, this is for everyone. If you know the show or don't know the show, this is going to be a perfect spot for you to get acclimated. Okay, if you're unfamiliar, basically The Bachelorette is one woman and there's about 25 other guys that come together and they compete to find love, which, ladies, let's be honest, it beats your odds elsewhere. That's all I'm saying. Basically, the show is an escape, right? Listen, go outside, look outside. The world is very depressing and it's hard. People are losing their jobs, families, relationships. Life is tough, and life is so tough, in fact, that you look at a bunch of people fighting and screaming and you go, well, this makes me feel better. At least my life isn't that bad. What's that? That's not the premise of the show? Okay, well, I felt like they sold us the wrong bill of goods. Listen, the show is great, and let's be honest about what it is. It's an escape. It's trashy television, and everyone needs that. Listen, I called my mother, God bless her. I'm like, what do you do when you're like stressed out, when you're depressed, when you're anxious? She's like, I just like sometimes read a book and like light a scented candle. I'm like, Mom, that's all you need to calm down? I've been shooting my brain full of dopamine with stand-up comedy for 10 years. I need more than that. And that's why reality television has become what it is. Because you're like, man, this is intense. And that's exactly what you're going to get if you're going to watch the show. And listen, I did a little bit of research for the show. Not a lot, a little bit of research. And listen, the 3 biggest questions on Google about the show were this. Let me just read them to you. Number 1, why is the driveway always wet? I had never thought that once. I never seen the show and never looked at it that closely, but that's a good question. Second, does Pete Weber have a finger tattoo? Okay, that's confusing. And third, what did Juan Pablo whisper to Claire? Okay, all 3 of those questions, the answers will come at the end of the show. But let's put a little context into play as to what exactly The Bachelorette is. Because women, let me just say, as a man, y'all are confusing us. Do you guys love the show? Do you hate the show? What's going on? Every woman I know is like, John, I don't like take it seriously. For me, it's like a joke. Like, it's totally like a joke. But like, my friends signed me up, and like, if one of the producers called me back, I would love to be on it. But it's like a joke. I don't like take it seriously. It's totally like, I just like watch it to make fun of it. But like every Wednesday, like religiously, or every Monday, we religiously watch the show. But it's like a joke, but like I love it. But it's a joke, but I like, what do you guys, it's confusing as a man, because they're like, John, listen, the show is just perfect. For their first date, they just went on a helicopter ride to a waterfall where they ate chocolate strawberries out of each other's mouths on a blanket. And then I take a girl to Chili's and I'm a jerk. It's like, babe, 2 for $20. Get whatever you want. This used to be reality. Now that you're seeing this stuff on television, and I can't compete. That's all I'm saying. There's a bunch of, if you ever seen the show, you hear that? Again, with the construction outside of my house. If you've ever seen the show, there's a lot of whispering going on. Men to women, women to men. There's a lot of sexual whispering going on, which is not reality at all. Okay, they're always like whispering love sayings to each other, or poems, or things like that, which is, they're all mic'd up. Why? How come we're not hearing what the whispers are? There's a lot of whispering. And listen, I was with a girl one time at a concert, and I think I whispered into a woman's ear once. And you know what I said? I was like, hey, I know this is a bad time, but I gotta find a bathroom bad. That's the reality of someone whispering in someone's ear, not what you're seeing on this show. And listen, the show is great. I don't personally watch it, but nor do I make fun of any woman that watches the show. Because guys, listen, it's the exact same as us watching like wrestling or something. Listen, the whole thing is scripted. The bodies are, let's just say, enhanced, and the parents of the contestants are at home alone watching and wondering how we went wrong with our children. Other than that, it's exactly the same. And people, I wonder, like, why? John, why does everyone go crazy on the show? Why does everyone go nuts? And I've wondered the same thing, because if you've ever watched it, you're like, yo, these people are going nuts. But then I did a little bit of research. No phones, no internet, no television. I don't know how long the show shoots, but I would go insane if I lost my phone for literally an afternoon. I was driving to a show one time, my phone died. I got 3 speeding tickets and ended up in rehab. I wish that was a joke. If you're laughing at that, I'm very offended. As a comedian, let me just say that I love the show like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, because I always watch the first episode because I like to make fun of the occupations. There's a running joke on the internet about the occupations of the contestants on these shows, and it's funny because I looked up the best ones that I could find. Tiara from season 20 was a chicken enthusiast, which I can't make fun of that totally because same. All right, listen, Camille from season 14, he was a social media participant. I love that. Because there's a lot of people running around these days claiming they're social media advisors and consultants. Okay, knock all that off. Just say you get on the internet sometimes and you have a TikTok now. Okay, I respect him for his honesty. And then one of the ones that made me laugh the most, Mark from season 5, said he was a pizza entrepreneur. Listen, I never heard of a pizza entrepreneur, but I eat a lot of DiGiorno pizzas, and I organize the pepperonis to make sure they're all equal for every slice. If that makes me a pizza entrepreneur, I respect this guy. And I think the conversation about this television show would not be complete if we didn't talk about love. Are people actually finding love? Are people actually ending up happy? Is the point, the quote, point of the show actually being achieved? And listen, the most watched season of all time was season 4 with a guy, I didn't watch it, but Bob Gooney, I don't know, probably not Gooney, but this man, it did not end with an engagement ring. He gave this woman a promise ring, and then he dumped her a month later. If that tells you anything about the status of the love in this show, that should be it right there. There's been 24 seasons of The Bachelor. The Bachelor means there's one guy and a bunch of women, and not one of them is still married. I don't know how many ended in marriage, but 0 out of 24 has ended in marriage. And The Bachelorette has had 15 seasons, and 5 of those ended in marriages that are still going on today. And that's pretty good odds. That's better odds than LeBron James in the finals. Come on! That's a decent joke. You didn't expect it, but here we are, and you laughed a little bit. You chuckled. Probably a bunch of women are watching this, and they don't get sports, so that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But if you like that joke, comment below. Listen, there's a lot going on with love in this, especially if you look at Yahoo Finance. According to Yahoo Finance, if you stay in the relationship for 2 years, 24 months is as long as you have to stay in the relationship for you to be able to keep the ring. And those rings, by the way, are very expensive. The rings are estimated value of $100,000. And listen, if you can stay in a relationship that long so you can keep the $100,000 ring, you win. Because look at everybody that leaves the show. They're all, on Instagram saying swipe up and use my promo code. Okay, come on. The majority of them leave to become influencers. And I think the reason why all former Bachelor and Bachelorette contestants leave to become influencers, they're all on their Instagram stories saying, everyone's been asking, because no one asked them if they'd accept this rose. That is a great joke. It's pretty well-rounded joke. It was long-winded. It took me a long time to get there. Let me just say that joke for you one more time. It was pretty solid. Everyone's on Instagram saying everyone's been asking because no one asked them, will he accept this rose? It's not that great of a joke. Anyway, moving on. If you win the show, The only drawback is that you have to go on Dancing with the Stars, which executives at NBC are just sitting in their conference rooms thinking, how do we exploit these people more? We've already put them through hell on earth for the show. You want to run it back? You want to keep going? Make sure they end up in rehab in their 30s and talking to the therapist for the rest of their lives? Dancing with the Stars. Let's do it. I mean, it's so... It's the silliness of the show, especially The Bachelor, when all the women are together. It just, everything gets blown up to make it a bigger deal than it is. It's such a wildness. The show should just rebrand itself and call itself Real Future Housewives of Agora Hills, because that's where the show is, that's where the house is, and that's the future of everyone if you love being on this show. But the show has been critiqued, or at least people on the show have been critiqued, saying that a lot of people on the show are not on it for the right reasons. Yes, I know it's so hard to believe, but some of the people have gone on the show and been accused of going on there only for publicity. Wow, what a crime. Some people have gone on the show and been accused of they only wanted to be on there because they wanted to travel to exotic locations. Or even some people have been accused of only going on the show not to find love, but to simply get back at an ex. And all three of those reasons, publicity, travel, or getting back as an ex, those, to me, if you ever watch the show, those are the right reasons to be on the show, not the wrong reasons. The wrong reason to be on the show is if you're looking for love. What are you, a psychopath? What, looking for love? This is a reality television show. This is probably not where you're going to find it. Going on The Bachelor looking for love is like going on Selling Sunset looking for a real estate bargain, or going on Tiger King because you care about the animals. It was never about the tigers. It was about meth. That was the joke. Listen, that's a pretty good joke, by the way. And the Bachelor, the franchise has done many things over the last bunch of years to evolve. The rules are always changing. There's always new wrinkles in the show. And in fact, this year, The Bachelor is introducing its first black contestant. Not contestant, the first black bachelor. And that's great. That is that's a progress for everyone. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So, but just to be clear, so we're supposed to take them off the products in the grocery store, but put them on The Bachelor. Okay, no, it's just kind of confusing. Great job, BLM, making sure you're... Okay, I'm not going to make this joke. It's confusing, that's all I'm saying. What are we supposed... Okay, what are we supposed to... Anyway, moving on. There's a lot of people who are against the show. There's a lot of people who are for the show. I'm neutral. I don't think... For every person that is against the show, there's a therapist that's looking for new business and new clients, and they're like, please keep this show on the air. Which, listen, that's fine. The reason I made this video is I saw this meme on Instagram last night, which I think is the truest way to describe this show. And listen, I can't even repeat it. I'm just going to put it on the screen for you to... I'm just going to take a moment of silence. Just read this meme. Just... with Denzel. No... Nothing describes the show greater than that. And listen, being what it is, The Bachelorette and The Bachelor, the franchise has taken a steep ratings decline since its inception in 2003, I believe it was, with over 20 at the season finale in 2003, 20 million views. And in 2019, the last season, 7.4 million views. Listen, my YouTube channel gets more views than that and way less production. I mean, listen, if you laugh at that joke, I'm very offended. I took a lot of time setting this up. Anyway, that's such a tremendous ratings decline that the executives at the executives at ABC are sitting there thinking, we've never seen a ratings decline like this. And then the NBA was like, hold our beer. Come on. No more NBA jokes. That was the last one. But you got to give them credit. You got to give the franchise credit because they've been in business for 39 seasons. That's The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. 39 seasons. That's more seasons than Friends, Seinfeld, The Office more than any of them, and that contributes to the overall fact that it's, first of all, it's the exact same every single year. The premise is the same things happen every single year, but play is okay. You know what I'm saying? If you've had a long day at the office, the kids are stressing you out, you get a bottle of wine and watch The Bachelorette. I think if that's your biggest problem, if you're going into your therapist office saying that's your biggest vice, I'm sure they should send you out of there in 10 minutes and go, yeah, you're fine. If that's the worst thing you're doing, you're fine. Let's just put it in context and call it what it is, okay? Because there's a lot of right-wing people and a lot of Christians that fight and protest and picket and walk around everywhere with signs protecting the sanctity of marriage in one context, but no one has ever said that about this show. And that seems to me a double standard. If you truly were about the sanctity of marriage, you should be rioting and picketing this show. But of course, you choose the spots where you want to picket, but don't say you're about the sanctity of marriage if you're fine with this show. That's all I'm saying. That got real serious and kind of unnecessary, but I had to say that before I get out of here, which brings us to the last three points, which is the questions that I answered at the top of the show, or the questions I asked at the top of the show. Here are the answers. Why is the driveway wet? Well, Chris Harrison said in an interview, he said that it just looks better on television. It's a little shinier, looks better on TV. Checks out. I got no problem with that. Does Pete have a finger tattoo? Why? A, why do people care about that? B, why does a man have a tattoo on his finger? Okay, that's irrelevant. But listen, the answer is yes. Apparently, him and his brother, when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, decided to celebrate by getting tattoos on their fingers. I can think of 97 other ways that would be more appropriate for a man to celebrate a Super Bowl victory than getting a tattoo on his finger. But listen, I got a lot of other questions about the show, so we're going to leave it at that. And the third question, the one everyone has waited 17 minutes for the answer for, what did Juan Pablo whisper to Claire? And listen, I spent a lot of time researching it. I couldn't find the answer, but I know for a fact that it wasn't, hey, Claire, this experience is going to be really good for our mental health. It wasn't that. See you next week, everybody.